This week on Viewpoints.
It's kind of going out to a cocktail party or picnic with the company that you're doing business with rather than going to their office and sitting in their conference room.
Social networking for business. We'll hear about the benefits and pitfalls.
I'm Marty Peterson.
And I'm Christopher Michael. These stories in depth this week on your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints. Anyone with a computer and internet service has heard of social media phenomena like Facebook, MySpace, LinkedIn, and Twitter. They've revolutionized the way we communicate with our friends, family, and even friends of friends and family. Of course, when something as big as these sites takes hold, it's just a matter of time before business wants a piece of the action. Companies from the Fortune 500 to Main Street mom and pops are jumping on the social media bandwagon, some without knowing exactly why or what it can do for them. We asked 3 marketing professionals about the role social media play in the marketplace and how companies can benefit from using them. Lon Safko, author of The Social Media Bible, says that Facebook, Twitter, and other media have changed the way consumers choose products and services to buy.
The biggest single change is customers no longer trust corporations to push their marketing message at us any longer. We want to hear from other people who have had an experience with that company. Peer review is really more significant interaction that people are looking for. And the other change is that we've gone from one-way pontification or pushing our message to two-way communication, which is now demanded by our customers.
Thomas Harpointner agrees. He's the CEO of AIS Media, a full-service interactive marketing agency headquartered in Atlanta. He says customers would rather hear what their Facebook buddies have to say about a new product than a paid celebrity spokesman.
What these social networks are really allowing people to do is to better interact with one another and get more reliable feedback and reports before they make a purchase. We can ask a car manufacturer about a new car, and most people don't really believe advertisers all that much, as we know. So some people then go to Consumer Reports so they can get what they feel is an unbiased report on which car they ought to buy. But that's still an unknown third party. But now social media networks enable people to ask other people who may have already purchased that car. So now they're able to get what they feel is much more reliable information. We trust our friends and family more than public sources, and we trust them more than the manufacturers or the advertisers. So it really puts the consumer more in control and gives them a much higher sense of confidence when they're actually ready to start doing business with a company.
A company's website and email list are good tools to reach out to customers, but they're really rather formal, one-way instruments. Harpointner says that a Facebook page is a way to give a company a more relaxed persona.
Facebook is more fun. Facebook is what gives the company personality. It's less buttoned up. It's less formal. On a Facebook page, you can put pictures of the employees, and here we are at the bowling event, and you hear some feedback from other customers. It's kind of going out to a cocktail party or picnic with the company that you're doing business with rather than going to their office and sitting in their conference room. And really, Twitter is just a way to get updated when there's a change. There's not a whole lot of room to tell a long story in Twitter, right? You only have so many words or characters, so you've got to say what you're going to say very quickly. If there's a big announcement on their website and there's a new commercial that they're launching, well, they could notify you on Twitter. The website itself doesn't really have a way to reach out to you and say, hey, come see me. We have a new video that we'd love to show you.
Safko says that companies use social media to find out how people use their products and to provide a place for them to share that information with other customers.
Kraft has a Facebook page that is just on Oreo cookies. They stay out of the conversation unless they have something to add, as if they were at a social event. If somebody's having a conversation and they want to participate, that's fine, but they never moderate. And believe it or not, Kraft Foods on their Oreo page has 6,200,000 people actively engaging in that Oreo brand with conversations. Hey, they can say something negative, so we can get that in the open and we could resolve it, and they can say things positive and exchange ideas. And in the case with Oreo, the 2 biggest things they do is exchange really cool recipes on how to use Oreo cookies. And the other thing that's amazing is memories. When I was a kid and I played softball and I lost the big game, my dad sat me down with a glass of milk and some Oreo cookies, and it changed my life. That's wonderful to have that conversation around your brand.
A Fortune 500 company really needs to reach millions of customers across the country and around the world. But what about a small business that has a local customer base? How can they use social networks to their advantage? Gail Martin is the president of Dream Spinner Communications and author of the book 30 Days to Social Media Success. She says these sites provide small businesses and solopreneurs with the same benefits as the big companies.
Well, you can offer coupons. You can offer suggestions of everything from recipes to stain-removing techniques to household cleaning tips and organization tips. One of the great things that you can do very affordably on social media is have a dialogue with your customers and offer them ways to get increased value out of your product or service so that they are getting more bang for the buck, and possibly also becoming aware of other ways that you can offer them additional add-ons or additional products or services that provide them even more value. Also, because it is a two-way conversation, you can get feedback from them on how your product is measuring up to their expectations, whether or not they're using it in ways that you didn't even anticipate, what kind of value they're getting from it. You can have polls and surveys. You can engage them to help you identify new ways to use or extend the life of your product. So it's really an unprecedented opportunity, and especially for small business and solopreneurs, solo professionals in business for themselves, it gives you the kind of reach in an affordable way that you used to have to be a Procter & Gamble or a really big company to be able to have.
Martin says that a social media site is not a magic bullet and does not take the place of other marketing efforts. One of the biggest mistakes companies make is to rush into Facebook and Twitter without thinking of how they fit into the firm's overall business plan.
Business owners feel pressured to be out on social media, and so they go out and they start a number of sites, and they really have no strategy. They don't know why they're going out there except that everybody tells them they should be on Facebook and Twitter. And so they get out there, they get the page up, and then their question is, well, I'm on Facebook, now what? And they haven't really thought about how this is going to support achieving their number one business goal. Who's your number one target audience that's going to help you achieve that goal? And then what messages do you have to reach that audience with in order for them to help you achieve that goal? That's going to change everything about your social media strategy, from which sites are going to be best for you to be part of because they're where your audience is already congregating, to what kind of content you want to share, and to what your call to action is. What do you want from the people who are reading your content? Do you want them to go to your website and opt into your email list? Do you want them to buy now and take advantage of some terrific coupon or special?
Harpointner says that another aspect of social networking that businesses often don't consider is day-to-day management.
There is the misconception that, we can set up a Facebook page or a Twitter account and magically business is just going to come to us and more customers will do business with us. And that's not true. Setting it up is easy, but you do have to manage it, and you do have to commit a certain amount of time and resources or assign somebody to that task, and not doing that, it can turn into a small disaster. If people are having these conversations on your Facebook page without you knowing, without you checking up on it, it can turn into a real mess, just like tending to customers that come into a store. You don't want to let anybody just in your store and wander around your store unsupervised. If you let a bunch of kids in and you just go out for lunch, don't be surprised if you come back and the store is half looted and things are knocked over and there's a big mess on the floor. It is really an important part of the business, and it has to be managed properly.
That does not mean censoring negative comments about your product or service. Most posted comments are helpful, and Harpointner says that the only ones that should be deleted are those laced with abusive or offensive language or that are not relevant to the business. Tweets should be sent out when you have something to announce or to share with customers or industry professionals. It might sound like a lot of work to come up with news every day, but Martin says that a tweet doesn't have to contain something that you created yourself.
You can share a link to a good article that you've just seen in the newspaper and say, hey, this is really going to impact our industry because, and then share the link to the article. You can share comments that are industry or professionally related to what's going on in the news. You can highlight events that are coming up in your industry. So in other words, it's like the kind of conversation you would have with people in real life. What's going on that's related to your industry that people who are doing business with your industry need to know about because it's going to have an impact on them.
Businesses that are not strictly retail, such as medical and law practices, can also benefit from social networks. Safko says that the approach is a little different than it is for restaurants and shoe stores, but the goal is still to build trust within the community.
If I was consulting for a law firm, which I have, or for a doctor's office, I would say, you know what, get a blog out there. Start talking about your industry. I mean, let's take plastic surgery, for example. A lot of people are terrified of it. Well, we don't use silicone anymore. Now we use salt water implants. Or did you know that an eye lift is only 2 days of recovery, so you can do it over a long weekend? Anything that's new, that's exciting, that will help that customer, and most importantly is build trust, because you got to have trust with your professionals, especially attorneys and doctors, before you're willing to use them.
Once you've done all the research and have the social networking site up and running, how do you know if it's doing any good? Gail Martin says you may never know.
The great department store baron, Joseph Wanamaker, said, I know that 50% of my advertising is wasted, I just don't know which 50%. And although the means that were available to him over 100 years ago have changed today, I think there are a lot of people who would echo that sentiment. All kinds of marketing are really an investment into creating knowledge and awareness and then action. But the truth is that customers aren't going to buy from you until they're ready to buy. Until that point, all you can do is create awareness and knowledge and brand recognition. But there's very little you can actually do to speed up the purchase cycle. And Twitter, social media, all the different aspects of social media are part of creating that knowledge, awareness, and brand recognition.
Lon Safko says there are a few tricks you can use to get a feel of how your social networking is doing. For example, if your business offers a coupon on Facebook, you can count the number that are redeemed.
Create landing pages on your website where when you send out a tweet, only the people that got that tweet know about that landing page. Now you can know exactly how many people are responding actively to your tweets. So there's a whole bunch of little technical tricks that we do in marketing that can help you do that.
One final suggestion for a small business: just because your 15-year-old daughter is proficient in Facebook and Twitter, that does not mean that she should run the social media for your business. All of our guests say it's fine to let your kids show you how these networks operate. But after that, a business owner should take over or find a qualified employee to do the day-to-day management. You can find out more about social media and business in Gail Martin's book, 30 Days to Social Media Success, available at gailmartinmarketing.com. And the Social Media Bible on Lon Safko's site at extremedigitalmarketing.com. To learn more about Thomas Harpointner's company, you can visit AISmedia.com. Or to learn about all of our guests, go to our site, viewpointsonline.net. I'm Christopher Michael.
And that's Viewpoints for this week. Viewpoints is a production of MediaTrax Communications. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook to learn about upcoming shows and find a library of past programs on iTunes. Plus, you'll always find podcasts of our segments and information about our guests at viewpointsonline.net. Join us again next week for your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.